I should
Go ahead.
introduce Professor Ann Lee writes a nightly update on the war in Ukraine over at the Daily Kos. Everybody should read her at the Daily Kos. She writes under the name Annie Lee, Annieli, and you should subscribe to her over at the Daily Kos. So over the weekend, we heard about the bridge that links Crimea to Russia being blown up, we think, by a truck bomb. And everything I read until this morning was, this is huge news. The tide has turned. The Ukrainians are going to kick Russia out. And, I fall prey to this. I'm rooting for I root for America. I think war is horrible, but if Zelensky and the Ukrainians can kick the Russians out, I take the bait. And then this morning I wake up and I went, oh yeah, this is like every other war where you think it's going to be over and it's anything but. What happened? What did we wake up to this morning?
The biggest set of missile launches on Ukrainian soil of the war. I think there are 83 or 84 missile launches. Fortunately, the air defense in Ukraine is actually pretty good. They knocked down about half of them, half of the missiles. So
really,
that's Western whatever technology at work in that sense. There's a lot of air defense, and I think a lot more than people know about. But so on the one hand, that was bad. That was good, but the bad part was that civilian targets were targeted, and it was clear they weren't hitting military targets. They launched it at children's playgrounds. That's the current spin on it. They were knocking down buildings, sending it into populated areas that before or haven't gotten a lot of attacks. So that's what's going on, and the usual. We're at a very strange place, and other things are going on. It's interesting how the mainstream media is still fronting a lot of very strange narratives, like unrest in all of the different Soviet republics, or the post-Soviet republics, et cetera. But it's kind of unclear what's going on at the present moment. It's what remains, I think, is what Anna was talking about, is that it's still oil politics. It's going to lead our approach to the winter. The winter is going to be a bad winter, I think, for all of us.
And this war is not over. And when you tell me
it's not going to be over,
the thing that worries me,
there's no negotiations. There's,
the thing that worries me is when you tell me the Ukrainians are able to shoot half these missiles down. The first thing I think is, it's a proving ground for the military-industrial complex. They're using...
Indeed it is.
That Raytheon is getting to test anti-ballistic missiles, and it's going exactly the way they want it to go. They think it's a success. They're studying. Wasn't that what Spain... Wasn't that what Hitler used Spain for?
Sure. And unfortunately, Stalin didn't send enough armaments. That's kind of what it boils down to, with all due respect to the Spanish Civil War.
Yeah.
But it without torturing the analogy, though, it is a proving ground, because in the case of military hardware, you're really not going to get. This is unfortunately the best tactical test for weapons. Mm. You actually have to launch them against real things from the enemy, the quote unquote enemy. And we're beginning to see, it's unfortunate, but we're learning. And on the other hand, we're also profiting. We're seeing it, kind of putting it up against it. Just a simple example, the Russians are running low on their older S-300 air defense missiles, which they've been sort of converting to surface attacks, and we're trying to get them. I assume that's what they're trying to do, is to get them to launch their newer missiles their S-400s to see exactly how our air defense works against them. And it unfortunately comes down to a technocratic solution with the background against which is fuel oil.
Right.
It's really insane.
And something like 16 million Ukrainians are displaced.